Let's start with the agreement you signed, your relationship with the defendant, etc.
We met several years ago at the San Diego Film Festival. He spoke at a panel. I was impressed.
And what do? You just invest in things? Are you just an investor?
No, I do not invest in things. Trust me, it took him several months to try to get me to invest.
So now you wire him, in fact, the $5,000. You give him the money in September.
September 3rd, 2019.
You have an agreement that says October 15th, you can get your money back if you want.
Yes.
And you say that that's true.
Correct.
But he said, no, keep the money. And this is where this loan agreement now makes him an investor.
Correct.
Was there an opt-out agreement on October 15th?
No, not that I'm aware of.
You show me, sir, because I didn't see it either.
I believe he mentions it in his own demand letter. Exhibit A is our letter agreement for an investor, which he references having signed in his own demand letter in his own
You
words.
did sign that letter, and you did label it initially a loan agreement. First, it was supposed to be an investment, and then later on, you say when you sign it, you signed a loan agreement.
Correct. Exhibit B, correct.
Mark Atkinson lending $5,000 to Mark Cartier. You're supposed to get a lump sum payment with interest on or before October 15th. If he doesn't make any payment, the loan will be in default. You could get everything back. So yes, you could have gotten everything back. So he would be correct. However, you stay in it and he has your money. But you, sir, I'm going to tell you, I read through this voluminous text messages, and at some point I wrote a note. I cannot bear to read one more empty excuse from you why you did not call him back in the 15 minutes when you woke up, after your TV show went off, before you saw your grandmother, after you saw your grandmother.
Right.
You never, ever followed through. He wants the money back. He goes online and he discovers that you have been labeled, one of my favorite words, scammer.
Scammer, con artist, yeah.
Tell me why you did not scam him.
He had the opportunity to get out. He chose to stay in. I wanted him to stay in fact, so that he would get a larger return. When
Well, you
COVID
wanted him to stay in because you didn't have the money to pay him back.
Well, when COVID hit and he started struggling, I started struggling at the same time. My business fell apart. All of our financing fell apart.
News to me.
As friends, I thought that the easiest way to get him out was to personally buy out his investment stake.
That was the $300 that you gave him?
That was good faith, just to let him know that I wasn't trying to ignore him.
Baloney, baloney.
That I was dealing with a lot of
Come on, I
falling
read through
apart
your
business
text
and-
messages. Let me call you back in 10 minutes. Let me call you back in 15 minutes. And he's pleading with you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's page after page after page to the point where I couldn't go on anymore.
I understand. I didn't communicate horribly effectively during this period of time.
But
And I tried to
what
let him
happened?
know
COVID?
that
You
the reason my
You didn't have brain COVID or something, did you?
No, but my communication was difficult because everything around me was falling apart.
Yeah, but that
all
was
of my
the world.
investments,
The
all-
world.
I had millions of dollars worth of investors breathing down my neck.
Why did you give him a check that you knew was going to bounce? Because
I
that's
told
the
him that
issue
it was
here.
not good when I gave it to him, and I told him that I was giving it to him in good faith because he lives in San Diego.
What? Here's a piece of paper. This is like me saying,
Yeah.
here's a piece of paper.
So the plan was that I was going to buy him out of his investment with my own money.
Doesn't matter whose money. He just wants his $5, and I'm not even sure he's entitled to get it back. But the bottom line here is he's suing you for writing a fraudulent check.
I told him at the beginning and over via text message that it was no good, and then when it was never going to be good, I told him that he should rip it up.
Did he tell you not to cash it?
He told me to wait a week. I waited a week. That turned into 2 weeks. That turned into several weeks. It turned into months. And now we're here.
See, the problem I have is that maybe, in truth, this was something that became an investment after he couldn't get it back.
Yeah.
But at some point, you decide that you're going to keep him at bay by giving him a check that you cannot cover. That is a criminal offense.
I thought it was a gesture of good faith and that it was an act of convenience.
How is it a good faith?
Well, because then he had it, and if it wasn't good,
And then what he could do what with it?
then he would
Then can he have
turn
you
around
arrested
and
for issuing a bad check?
correct. Yes.
You would
correct.
have preferred that?
No, absolutely not, and that's why I say.
So
it was
that
an act
how
of
is this good faith?
I didn't expect it to get to this point. I didn't expect it to actually happen that way.